Presto Stovetop Pressure Canners are ideal for easy, confident home canning. They meet USDA home canning guidelines for safely processing vegetables, meats, and other low-acid foods. They also double as boiling water canners for fruits, tomatoes, and pickling. Both methods use recipes with standard processing times and temperatures as defined by the USDA. This step-by-step video guide will demonstrate the boiling water canning method in a Presto Stovetop Pressure Canner, which is available in two sizes, 16 and 23-quart liquid capacities, as well as a model for use on induction ranges. The 23-quart model will be used in this video. Except for jar capacity, they function the same. Before using it for the first time, start with the Getting Acquainted section of the instruction manual for directions on cleaning and assembling your canner. Always make sure your canner is in proper working order. Check the vent pipe by holding the cover up to the light and looking through the vent pipe to be certain it is clear. This sealing ring should be pliable and in good condition. Be sure it is properly seated in the cover. The instruction manual also includes specific directions for boiling water canning a wide variety of foods, such as fruits, tomatoes, salsa, pickles, jam, and jelly. Gather the canning supplies you'll need. For information on jars, lids, and bands, refer to Canning Basics in the instruction manual and online at gopresto.com. Always use a research-tested recipe and never alter the ingredient proportions. Select fresh, firm produce and wash and prepare as directed in the recipe. Today, we're using the recipe for applesauce in quart jars processed with the boiling water method. Wash and rinse the mason jars, lids, and bands. Use only jars and bands that are in perfect condition. Examine the jars for nicks or cracks. Inspect the bands for rust or dents. Always use new lids and prepare them as directed by the manufacturer. Turn to the How to Can Foods Using the Boiling Water Method section of the instruction manual. To use the pressure canner for the boiling water method, the pressure regulator and overpressure plug will not be needed. Remove them and set aside. Place the canner on a gas or electric range burner that closely matches the 8 to 9 inch diameter of the canner bottom. Do not use an outdoor LP gas burner or a gas range over 12,000 BTUs. If using on a smooth-top range, check for weight restrictions because a filled canner can weigh over 50 pounds. Place the canning rack in the canner to prevent jar breakage and add 3 quarts of water. Additional water will be needed later to cover the jars. Jars should be kept hot until ready to use. This can be done in a dishwasher or in the canner. To heat the jars, fill them half full with water and place them on the rack in the canner. Heat the water in the canner and maintain the temperature at almost simmering. Then place the cover on the canner by aligning the V-mark on the cover with the inverted V-mark on the body handle. The body and cover handles will not be aligned for this step. Allow the jars to warm for at least 10 minutes. The apples have now been cooked down and pressed through a food mill. Add sugar if desired to sweeten, and reheat the applesauce to boiling. To complete the preparation, heat another 6 quarts of water to boiling for use later when processing. Remove the cover from the canner. Lift out 1 jar at a time and discard the water from the jar. Immediately fill the jar with hot applesauce, leaving 1/2 inch headspace. It's important to release trapped air bubbles from the jar, which can also affect headspace. All recipes will indicate the amount of headspace necessary for the food being canned. Headspace is the airspace between the top of the food or liquid and the lid. Wipe any food particles or liquid from the jar rim. Then position a flat lid. Using your fingertips, screw the band onto the jar evenly and firmly, fingertip tight. Do not over-tighten as air must release from the jars during processing and cooling. Using the jar lifter, place the filled jar straight down onto the canning rack. Repeat the process, filling 1 jar at a time until all the jars are in the canner. When boiling water canning in the smaller 16-quart model, only jars that are pint size and smaller can be used. After all the jars are in the canner, check the water level. Add more boiling water around the jars so the water level is at least 1 inch above the jar tops. Place the cover on the canner by aligning the V mark on the cover with the inverted V mark on the body handle. Once again, the body and cover handles will not be aligned for this step. Turn the heat setting to its highest level. Periodically, lift the cover to determine when the water begins to boil. When the water boils vigorously, the processing time begins. Reduce the heat to maintain a gentle, steady boil throughout the entire processing time. Replace the cover, again aligning the V mark on the cover with the inverted V mark on the body handle. This time, press down on the cover handles and rotate clockwise until the cover handles are above the body handles. With the boiling water method, applesauce in quart jars needs to process for 20 minutes. However, when canning at higher altitudes, refer to the altitude adjustment chart in the instruction manual for the necessary increase in processing time. Foods with long processing times may require the addition of more boiling water to keep the level at least 1 inch above the jars. When the processing time is complete, turn off the heat and remove the cover by turning it counterclockwise. Lift it toward you to keep the steam away from you. Let the canner cool for 5 minutes. Using a jar lifter, carefully remove the jars by lifting them straight up and place them upright on a towel. Do not retighten the bands. Allow the jars to cool naturally for a minimum of 12 hours, but no more than 24 hours before testing to see if a vacuum seal has formed. To check the seals, press down on the lid. It should be concave and not flex up and down when pressed. If a jar fails to seal, it will audibly flex up and down. Refer to Troubleshooting in your instruction manual for a remedy. You now have 7 quarts of boiling water canned applesauce, preserved using the Presto Pressure Canner. Be sure to read the instruction manual and recipe carefully before each use. More canning information is available at gopresto.com. For a step-by-step video guide of the pressure canning method using the Stovetop Presto Pressure Canner, watch the companion video. Available in 16 and 23 quart models, as well as a model for use on induction ranges.